So what's up, guys? This is Joe and Shan. We're back with another video. We are here today to tell our story. About time, taking a while, but just obviously we're appreciative of you guys of always uplifting us with messages and telling us your story. It's really comforting for us. It helps us a lot. So
like he was saying, like, we're so grateful for everyone. Like, we kind of went about it in a weird way, just because we wanted it to be like known, but we didn't want to like talk about it yet. But we are ready to talk about it, so here we are. We just weren't. So that's kind of why we announced it the way we did, and then now we're kind of gonna give a backstory. I think basically, back in college, I had an ED. I don't know.
Look it up.
I don't think I can say what it is.
Just look it up.
I was unhealthy. I was not doing well, and I ended up losing my period for 5 years. And so they told me that I wouldn't be able to get pregnant. And so, like, when me and Joanna were about to get married, I was like, just letting you know, like, hopefully I can. I'm obviously gonna, like, hope for the best, but, like, I was told that I can, so.
Yeah.
So that was, like, always a sad thing for us, and, like, he's always wanted to be a dad, and, like, I feel like we always just had hoped and prayed that we would be able to. And then last year, like, Joanne's always wanted to have kids, get pregnant.
Yeah, so y'all be saying like, oh, Juwan give her a baby, Juwan give her this. I've been wanting to do that. And she been slowing me down for being a daddy.
Okay, well, first of all, our first year of marriage, like, we wanted to wait a little bit. But then the second year, we were, like, very ready. Like, we were ready to get pregnant and go to the doctor and stuff. And we had a few complications that had caused me to not, they didn't want me to try yet. Like, I had some issues. I had to, like, take medication and do treatments and stuff because of my issues, because it would have been not a good pregnancy if I had gotten pregnant when I did. Right. That stuff would, like, come and pass, but it had taken a while. It was like a year that stuff was going on. So, like, we were hopeful that it was going to be a faster situation, but it wasn't. So then now we had, like, two, complicated situations about trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
But then January came around, and we finally were in the clear. They were like, oh my gosh, everything's good, you're clear, go get pregnant, whatever. And
because you had the bar in your arm.
I had the bar in my arm, and I was just keeping it there until, like, the doctor gave me the okay to get pregnant. And so
that's when I was like, yeah, it's time.
Yeah, I literally got it out, like, immediately. Excited, and I feel like around that time and a little bit before is when we were, like, kind of, like, teasing a little bit, like, oh, like, we'll be pregnant soon, or are we pregnant, or, like, things like that. And honestly, it was just, like, a lot of people didn't understand why we were being like that, and honestly, just a lot of, like, preconceived notions on where we were at. But, like,
that's just how we were anyway, like, even before, like, we just teased just because we knew that we wanted kids. Like.
And we were pretty much starting it off, like, saying that's what we wanted, and then we were just, like, trying to be super casual and fun about it, because, like, of course the doctors were like, you have to just be calm and be happy and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm just making it as happy and joyful and lighthearted as possible. I'm trying to just make light of everything, because then when January started, we really were trying, and I mean, it took a while. Like, it didn't work at first. And
yeah, but it's also, it wasn't like you weren't supposed to that early anyway. Get pregnant that early anyway.
I mean, obviously, when we started trying, we wanted to get pregnant. So, I mean, it was a bummer. But during that time, I was just like, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be lighthearted. I'm going to be casual about it. Like, so that's what we were kind of doing on TikTok and stuff. Just, like, trying to be joyful and lighthearted, blah, blah, blah. Going to LA, and I started to feel weird. Oh, actually, we were at a conference. We were at a Christian marriage conference for NFL players.
Yeah. And
I thought I was pregnant. Like, I literally was like, I swore I was pregnant, and I was.
She made me buy a pregnancy test, and we flew it. We flew with the pregnancy test to the conference. This girl going to take the pregnancy test. Like, got me waiting, carrying this thing around, and I'm taking it with her. I'm just like, oh snap! Like, you might just find out here.
Thought that I was pregnant, and so we did the test, and it was negative, and we were just, like, really bummed about it.
My heart was pumping.
I'm
not even gonna lie, but my heart was pumping.
I did, and it was a bummer because then during the conference, they're like, everyone gets pregnant at PAO, like PAO babies, like everyone has one. And I was like, dang, like maybe I'll get pregnant at the conference. And literally the last day of the conference, I had the world's worst period. I mean, that was a bummer, but
yeah. Then we had to leave the conference because you just weren't feeling it.
Yeah, I was so sick. I literally had to leave, and he had to take care of me.
You were not feeling it.
We're not pregnant then. Then a little bit later, we were in LA. I was also feeling kind of unwell. Obviously hopeful again. Took a test, negative. Fully swore I was pregnant, but come to find out, I was. It was just very, very early in the stages of pregnancy.
And I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. We were falling asleep at like 8.
I was in bed so early.
7:30.
Like, I had every symptom you can think of. Like, I literally swore I was pregnant, and it was such a bummer because I was like, what the heck? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, yeah. I thought I was pregnant. And a few weeks later, we came back to LA. Literally was still swearing I was pregnant. You can feel your body too. Like, I was feeling like pregnant, honestly. And so we took a test, and that was the video we posted. It was positive. Mm-hmm. We were so happy. Mm-hmm. It was literally like the happiest we've ever been. Ever.
Yeah. That was the most confident of me buying like a pregnancy box. I was doing it. I was fully aware that you were going to be pregnant. Yeah.
And we did record. That was the only we've tried multiple months. We never recorded anything. We kind of just did it to ourselves. But that one we like.
Yeah, I was for sure. I was happy going to the cashier. I gave you that. Gave you some chocolate. I think I got you something else.
I was pregnant. Everything was literally magical. It was obviously very early, so I wasn't really ready to like tell people yet.
Yeah.
You know, because it was like super early. I had been like tracking the size of the baby on like the apps and like.
I had the apps and everything.
I was being super crazy about like what I was eating and like too much sun, like just all these things, like being crazy just about pregnancy.
Just being the most. And this is just telling me like how she's gonna be as a mom. Like, is it pasteurized? Is it okay if I eat this? I need to get some sleep. Is it okay if I'm sleeping? Is it okay if I'm eating? Am I eating enough? Am I getting enough water? It's like
I was out here like sleeping on my side with like a literal size baby.
Oh
but
my God.
I was just so excited. Like, it was the best time. Like, I loved being pregnant. It was so incredible. We were pregnant for a while, and then we were ready to like finally get to a point where we were ready to tell our families. Asked my mom and dad and his mom to come out to New Orleans for Easter. His mom couldn't come because she had just had a surgery. But my parents out. We shipped an Easter basket to his mom, and it said like we're pregnant in it, and then the Easter basket here for my mom and dad was gonna say like you're gonna be grandparents because I'm obviously the early child. So I was so excited about it. But a few days before Easter is when everything kind of started to go downhill. Like Wednesday night before Easter, like spotting, and I honestly wasn't too worried about it. Like I was like, oh, okay, like looking at stuff on the internet, seemed fine, seemed normal. Spotted again the next day. Of course, it's like 2 days max. Like you can only spot 2 days max. So I was like, okay. Started to get a little heavier, and then by Friday I was like bleeding, like real blood. Yeah. I was like panicked.
Really? The urgent care.
Joanne was like, let's just go to urgent care. My parents were going to be flying in a few hours, so we're like, let's just go and get this done. We went to urgent care, and it was like the worst experience. The people at urgent care were wonderful. It was just like. I walked in. I was super embarrassed, honestly, because the lady was like, hey, what's wrong with you? Like, how can we help you? And there were so many people, like, sitting in the waiting room, and I was like, I'm pregnant and I'm bleeding. And it was just like, that doesn't sound good, you know? And, like, I knew it didn't sound good. Yeah. So the lady was like, like, her face, like, went straight. Like, she seemed scared. And then she, like, went to the back. She's like, 1 second. So she talked to the doctor, comes back, she's like, yeah, the doctor said that you should go to the ER. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then she was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what are you sorry for? Like, I just was like, really like not trying to believe. And I was like, no, what do you mean? Like, what are you sorry for? I started crying. I was like so upset. Really started freaking out. We rushed to the emergency room. And they put me like in a literal bed. Like they like literally had me in there for like several hours. Did every test possible.
We took the pregnancy test. She was positive. Got blood work done. It's pretty much everything.
We did it all. We literally did the ultrasound. We did the ultrasounds. We saw the baby. We saw like everything that the doctor did. She was like checking even for miscarriage, and she was like, no, you're good. Of course, I was like in literal panic mode, so I just did not even know what to think. But she said that like the things that she was doing was telling her that my baby was still alive and everything was okay for now, at least, and that there could be a potential miscarriage, but right now it's great, and just bed rest for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. We went a little bit MIA, and then we just bed rested for literally 2 weeks. I was pregnant, so I was still like doing pregnant things like prenatals and like all that. As we got out of the ER, we had to rush to go pick up my parents from the airport.
Right.
And at that point, I was like literally a wreck. Like,
you were just upset.
I was so upset. I was so scared. And now I'm like, we literally have them flying in. Your mom already received her package that says we're pregnant. But now we're going through all these complications. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to tell people, hey, we're pregnant, but, you know, our baby might die. Like, that's just not what I'm in the mood for. Like, I just was, like, so, yeah.
So I'm the one that told him, you know, just what happened, so.
I could not do it.
Yeah.
This is a big deal for me to be able to talk about everything, too, because I literally am not able to talk about it. It's been me, like, stopping us from, like, talking about it for a while, because I've just been, like, unable to speak on it, even when I was telling them. But we're talking about it, which is good.
And we're pregnant, but we are having complications. You know, Shan isn't feeling well. She's bleeding a lot, and, you know, we're just very concerned. But they were really good about it. They were good sports. You know, they were very positive. You know, like me, just trying to make sure that your head was right, just in case, you know, if it wasn't like that. Because I had no doubt in my mind that it wasn't a miscarriage. And so I just think it was just like implantation and all that.
Right.
Just for you not to stress out. Like, I just try to get you not to stress out.
Yeah, and I was really honestly like annoyed because like now I have like, which I love my parents obviously, and it was good that they were there for me at that time. But I was just like overwhelmed a little bit just by everyone, like Jawan and just like the positivity. And I was like, of course I'm being positive. Like honestly, I like a lot of the reason why we're talking about all this is because no one talks about it. And if I would have known anything about miscarriage, I would have known I was having one, and I didn't. And, like, I was being so ultra positive because everyone around me was being so ultra positive, which was good, but, like, I know my body, and I was feeling weird stuff happening, and I just... So, Jawan basically would sit with me every time I went to the bathroom because I did have a lot of bleeding. There was, like, a point in time that weekend where, like, I literally gushed and had to run to the car. I tried to go have breakfast with my family because I hadn't ever done that. Since I was on my like 2 week whatever. Yeah. So we had a breakfast, sat in a booth, and then walked to the car, and it's like gushing out of me.
Yeah.
And so another day he was just sitting in the bathroom with me like always, and I like looked in the toilet and I had seen something, and like I'm honestly never gonna forget the situation, but like it was like size, and it looked like a date. It looked like a fish.
It looked like a little fish. But at the time, like, we didn't necessarily know what it was. Like, we just thought it was just like, all right, it's just like whatever. Because I didn't know what it was supposed to look like, to be honest.
Nobody knows what they're
doing. You know?
We literally were staring at it. It gave me the chills. Like, it literally freaked me out so much. Started, like, really freaking out. And I was like, I don't know what this is. And we were hoping that it was like, because I had some clotting like come out and stuff. So I was like, maybe it's a clot. So I literally stuck my hand in there and pulled it out. And I was holding it, and it was hard. And I was like, this is not a blood clot. And we literally like stared at it for like 15 minutes, trying to figure out what the heck it was. And of course, my literal brain was like, did my literal child just fall out of me? And I was like, no way, that's probably not even possible. Like, because of course online it's just like, oh, shedding, like, just so many things that I didn't want to look up.
Right.
But yeah, so we did not know anything about that. Really, leaving, like, we flushed it, and then, you know, moved forward with our lives, and then...
You're still trying to be positive.
Which I will say, my symptoms, I started losing my symptoms, which freaked me out, but again, we were trying to be very positive. I wasn't feeling, like, tender anymore, I wasn't feeling tired, I wasn't feeling any of these things, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I wanted them. I wanted all the symptoms.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I loved it. It gave me, like, the best feeling because I was like, dang, like, I'm pregnant. And, like, obviously, like, the symptoms suck and stuff. But, like, for the sake of fear, like, symptoms I appreciated because, like, I was in panic mode from the jump because I've never been pregnant before. And I've always had complications. So, to our 2-week appointment. And
still on bed rest.
I've still been on bed rest until that day.
Yeah.
And, the ultrasound tech was like doing the ultrasound, and she was like going over my belly, and she was like, yeah, well, this is your tummy, and that's where the baby should be, and there's no baby there. And I'm just like, it was the worst day. Literally.
And that was tough. Hearing that, like, this is where the baby's supposed to be, the baby's not there, I was just like, dang.
It was the worst. Like, I was so upset, and he was like trying to calm me down, but we were like devastated, and we were recording. We were like,
we were recording. You're recording like that.
Yeah, like no, it was a literal bust. Like it was the worst. The girl went and like got me tissues, came back, and she was like, the doctor still wants to see you, and I was just so angry, honestly. I was like, no, I'm not gonna go see the doctor. Like, why? I'm not pregnant. There's no baby, right? Like, I'm not gonna go. Well, he might be able to give you some answers that I don't have, like, whatever. And I was like, okay.
I'd be there for you because obviously you needed that.
Mm-hmm.
But, because it's a tough time, but I was just grateful for you that you were also there for me because you weren't the only one dealing with it. I was dealing with it as well. You were a great sport about that. I appreciate that. The doctor... And we were talking to him, and he was just saying how, things could happen, but he was really good about it, and we appreciate him too. He was a really good person. He was a really good guy. I didn't know if I could,
I'm so going back to him.
Yeah.
Like, he was the best. I was, like, weary of having a man doctor, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this man. Like, he was sitting there, and he was, like, being so good to me and Juwan.
Yeah.
And, I did not want to go in, but it was the best, like, thing we could have done, and that's the only way we knew how we had a miscarriage because, like, he started asking us questions.
Is anything different?
He's like, did anything, like, come out, basically? Like, was anything coming out? I was like, yeah. I'm still over there, like, being, like, super, like, I could not allow myself to believe what I thought deep down. Like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah.
He was like, did anything come out? And I was like, yeah, I had blood clots, like, whatever. And I looked at Juwan, and he looked at me, and we're kind of like, and he's like, but did something come out? And I was like, yeah. And then he explained to me, like, what it would look like. And I was like, yeah, that was definitely it. I didn't really panic, but I feel like I was having, like, panic vibes. Like, especially when we left, really just because I've never really been so traumatized before, to be honest. Like, just, like, holding it.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, like, and I guess, like, to put closure on it all, like, that was probably one of, in the span of a month, that was probably, 2 months, rather. Like, the happiest we've ever been and the saddest we've ever been. And I'm glad we had a great community around us, but it was also that we needed some time alone, some time to, like, be with ourselves, because we know exactly what we need. And I feel like we are different in many ways, but in terms of just, like, getting closure or getting security from one another, we both spend a lot of time with each other.
Definitely took the time we needed, and, like, I feel like for that whole day, we literally, like, just canceled all of our plans. We're like, ew, like, we cannot do a single thing. I texted my mom, and he texted his mom, and we're like, this is what happened. We'll talk to you another day. Like, literally. I, like, was having a full-blown panic attack just because, like, this sounds bad, but, like, I really just could not deal with the fact that I, like, flushed it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Not that it could have done anything, but then we were going down the rabbit hole of, like, what we could have done differently, like, what did we do wrong, just, like, different things, and it was just, like, honestly not healthy, and we took that day to allow ourselves to kind of like freak out, because it was like a freak out moment. But then after that, we're like, okay, let's just start, like, honestly, we just spent the rest of the time mourning. Like, we weren't allowing ourselves to, like, blame ourselves anymore.
Yeah.
We were just like, okay, we need to let ourselves heal now.
Right. Yeah, because it's always good to, like, let that out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's never bad to let that out. But I think for me, it was more so just, like, seeing, because, I mean, I know when you're really happy. Mm-hmm. You know, just seeing you really happy in the video they seen of how you knew you were pregnant, and just seeing, like, the face on you. Like I said before, like, I always know that you're really happy is when you get those dimples. That's how I know you're really happy. Mm-hmm. Like, dimples right here. And, like, seeing that, because that's my image. That's, like, when I know Shane's happy, really happy, that's it. I know you're happy, but I would know you're really happy. And so, and then to see you at your lowest, like, that's how we know we can be with each other, because we see our highest and our lowest.
Doctor literally told us nothing you did. Like, it was such an early pregnancy. Like, it literally was your body's way of, like, handling it itself. But it was nothing we did. And that, like, helped a lot with my just mental process. We ended up telling, like, our friends, local friends, we really were not ready to sit there and, like, go and say stuff to people. Right. I wasn't ready to, like, be like, hey, just letting you know, like, right. That's why we didn't even tell people when we were pregnant, because I'm like, how am I going to be like, hey, I'm pregnant, but I'm bleeding and it could be bad. Right. And then, hey, just letting you know, I was pregnant and now I had a miscarriage. Yeah. Like, it was just like,
that's a lot. Yeah.
It was too much. But we told our, like, local friends who were, like, really close to us, and they were, like, there for us, and it was really great. We ended up posting a video, kind of just saying it without talking about it. Yeah. And then we waited until we were ready to, like, speak.
Yeah, and this isn't like to feel bad for us or anything like that, because we just want people to talk about it more, because we never have people or videos that talks about it. Like when we came out saying that we were, like, so many people reached out to us, so many people gave us comfort, because we thought this was, like, odd. Like, miscarriages are so much more common than whatever we ever thought. So we just put out this video to, like, help other people, like, who are going through this, or who may go through this. So
yeah, we talk about everything in our life, so we kind of felt like hiding this would be, like, doing a disservice just for, like, our genuine go through stuff, and we want to keep it real with y'all. And I feel like I would have loved to have known that if something comes out of you, like, that's probably not great, and I'd want people to know, like, what the process could be like, and, like, it happens, and just certain things. Like, I feel like it's just not a learned thing. Yeah. And not that I want people to have to go through this, but, like, just in general, like, I want it to be talked about.
What about how our strong faith just got us through?
Just my mentality is I immediately go to, like, oh my gosh, people who go through this, like, I know they get mad at God. I think that, like, that is, like, a fear of mine all the time, is, like, just, like, people's view of God. And when people always come to me who don't believe in God, and they're like, why do bad things happen to good people? Like, why is there bad things in general that happen in the world? Like, just stuff like that. And it's, like, one of those things where, as much as my situation sucks, I want to share it with people. Mm-hmm. We want to share it with people, because, like, we're all going to go through bad stuff, right? It's going to suck. You've seen God's heart in this so beautifully, and, like, his intentions are so pure and they're so loving, and it's like, I wish that people could, like, experience that. And, like, yeah, like Jawan said, there's just such a difference between joy and happiness, and, like, it was the saddest I've ever been in my life, and this was, like, such a great opportunity. Not even, that sounds bad, but it was a great, like, way of God. Like, obviously God didn't do this to me, like, you know what I mean, but, like, it was one of the few times in my life where I've been at the lowest point. That was my lowest I've ever been. Yeah. And I experienced God's love that gave me so much joy in the midst of my saddest time. But we just wanted y'all to know our life, and we appreciate you guys, like, walking through it with us, and, like, being so loving and kind towards us.
And we appreciate you guys. Look forward for our next video. We thank you guys. We love you guys. And peace out.